Hey everyone, so as you can see I am not Lars, in fact I'm Avi from the YouTube channel Take Me Out. If you haven't already, hopefully there will be a link to my channel in the description of this video, so you will be able to go ahead and check it out. Lars is a little too busy at the moment, he's watching his llamas or installing yet another Unifi camera, but he will be here in just a few moments. In fact, me and Lars are working together on this video, and let me tell you, this is going to be one of the coolest videos ever. We are going to take an SMLight ZigBee coordinator that will be located on Lars's farm in Australia, and we are going to configure it and installing it on a home assistant server that will be located halfway across the world in Athens, Greece. How cool is that? There are plenty of use cases for it, but the classic one is if you have an Airbnb place that you rent out, you may have internet going on, but you don't want to place hardware there. So that's a classic use case. This is one of these things that just a few years ago wasn't even possible, not easily at least, but since SMLight devices have a VPN capability baked into them, this has now becomes very easy to accomplish. So without any further ado, let's get this show on the road. Lars, you're up.
Let's talk about the hardware side of this solution. So I'm here at some of my Unifi setup. There's many videos on this server rack and all those things that are in it if you want to go check those out. But we're going to plug the SMLight SLZB-06 rolls right off the tongue, into here, right there in the switch, which means this is going to have internet connection, which means we can then configure it to talk to Avi. But next door, we have a cottage. And you don't really want a lot of technical equipment and stuff in a guest cottage or Airbnb, like I was saying before. So in here, I have a ZigBee power point. Very basic device that we're going to connect to the SMLight, which means that then Avi can connect to this and turn on the light from halfway across the world using Home Assistant. How cool is that going to be? All right, that's the hardware side of things. Avi, back to you!
Alright guys, now that you have a clear understanding of what we're trying to achieve here, now let's talk a little bit about how we'll go about achieving that. It all revolves around Wireguard. We have a Wireguard server, in our specific case it's the Unifi Dream Machine Pro. We have our Wireguard client, which is the SLZB device. And this is not going to be a Unifi Wireguard tutorial. If you want a deeper dive on that, I did create a video not too long ago and I will put a link to it in the top right corner. Everything I'm going to do now is pretty briefly. So I'm already logged into my Unifi device, so let's go to Settings, VPN server, make sure Wireguard is selected. Of course you can change the name as you see fit. Unifi will give you a set of default settings which will work just fine. I'm going to change several of them just for my convenience, so I'm going to go to Manual. I'm going to change the IP address or the subnet so it will be clear to me which clients come from VPN. I'm going to change the DNS servers just to 8.8.8 and 1.1.1. You don't have to. And now we'll start configuring where the rubber really meets the road. We'll add a client, so click on Add Client. Let's change the name to SLZB. Let's go to Manual, just so we'll be able to configure which IP address this client will get. .2 is fine by me, everything else you don't need to touch. What you do need to do is to download the configuration file. Let's go ahead and save it. The configuration file will be the file that actually holds all the data, all the values that Lars will need to input into the SLZB device. In fact, let's go ahead and open the file so you will see what it looks like. This is the file, let's open it in Notepad. And actually, these are all values that you should not share with anyone else. In my case, I don't have a choice because Lars is halfway across the world. But here's, for example, you can see that the DNS servers I input are listed in the file. And if you have a dynamic DNS service and you don't want to use an IP address, you can just replace the IP address with a dynamic DNS FQDN, and that's it. So right now all I have to do is to send the data either in Notepad or the file itself to Lars and make sure Lars receives the file and does whatever he needs to do on the SLZB interface. So let me go ahead and try to get Lars and notify him that the file is on its way to him.
So actually, Lars and me have a very top secret telecommunication device. Let me just contact him and tell him the data is on its way. Lars, buddy, the top secret data was sent to you. The eagle has landed. I repeat, the eagle has landed. The file is on its way to you. Take it from here. I can never get him on this telecommunication device. Lars, take it from here, buddy. Let's hope he hears me.
All right, Avi. No, thanks. Yeah, I got you. I got it. Thanks. Cool. All right, so Avi has now configured his side of the network. His Unifi network has been set up with Wireguard, so now it is my turn to connect to it. So I am here in the Unifi network, and you can see that the SLZB-06 rolls right off the tongue still, has now got an IP address, 192.168.10.98 on my local network. So I'm going to copy that, and we're going to go to that device, the SMLight device. You can do that directly. And this is brand new. So I have not used this before. I'm going to use it for the first time and set it up here. So you can go follow along if you want. So that is the latest version at the time of recording. There's some release notes. On the dashboard, you can see all the different features of this particular device and what the current status is. So we are not connected to Wi-Fi, but we're connected to Ethernet, etc., etc. You can see the CPU, you can see the memory, etc. What we're really interested in is the VPN. It's not enabled and it's not connected and not active, of course. So let's go to VPN. And in here, we are going to enable the Wireguard because we're going to use it, right? So this is one of the features that this particular device has from SMLight is that it has Wireguard built in. So I'm now going to copy the details that Avi provided to me from his set. Remember he clicked the download configuration button or link there? I'm going to use those details to input here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've entered those in. Of course, I've blurred some of them because we don't need the entire internet to connect to this device. That would just be silly. But that's all you need to do. And then click Save right here. It's going to reboot, which doesn't take long, just to set up the new connection. Obviously, it's going to reconnect to the VPN and Avi's network. So now you can see here on the dashboard that the VPN is enabled and it is connected and active. So I think now it's back to Avi to configure the rest of it. Avi, back to you!
All right, Lars, thank you very much. Now you've talked enough. Go watch your llamas for a while. Let me take it from here and then we'll be back with you in a few minutes. All right, guys, so what Lars was able to do is take the WireGuard related data I sent him, input it into the SLZB device web interface, and voila, the device is now connected with WireGuard to my UDM Pro, located halfway across the world. The SLZB device is located in Australia. This UDM device is located in Athens, but logically, now that it's connected, it's as if the device was right next to me. Logically, there is no difference. In fact, if I'll go to a computer that's located on that network, on that UDM network, in a VLAN I created for IoT use cases, I can now easily open up a web browser and go to the IP address of the SLZB device, the IP address it got from VPN, and I can now enter the web interface of the device. Of course, the latency is noticeable, but keep in mind, this device is located halfway across the world, and I can still use it as if it was right here in my network. Alright, quick note before we continue. In a real-world kind of scenario, you would want a ZigBee network that's local to you and another ZigBee network on that remote location. For that, you would want to use ZigBee to MQTT. With ZigBee to MQTT, you can run several instances of it. You can run several ZigBee coordinators. For simplicity's sake, and because it's more convenient for both me and Lars, we will use ZHA. Now, keep in mind that it's simpler that way. The concept is not changed, but again, in real-world kind of scenario, you would want to use ZigBee to MQTT. Alright, so if I'm already inside the web interface of the SLZB device, I am going to go into this section right here. Since I'm using ZHA, we'll go into that tab right here. And this is a piece of information I will need. Alright, so now we will go into my Home Assistant instance. So let's go ahead and type the IP address. Alright, I am logged in, and this is of course a demo instance of Home Assistant. We will go into settings, we will go into devices and services,
add integration, search for ZHA, going to enter manually. In our specific use case, we are using the SLZB-06M, which uses the Silicon Labs kind of chip. So let's select the EZSP, click on submit. This is where I'll paste in the string I've taken from the SLZB web interface. And let's click on submit. Alright, so this took a minute or two. And now, since we want to start fresh, we'll erase settings and create a new network. This also can take about 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, it depends. I'll just pause the recording right here and I'll resume it once this is finished. Alright, so it took about 5 minutes. So now it's over, so let's just place it in an area, well, let's say living room, and select finish. Now, get this, how cool is this? We have a Home Assistant with ZigBee, with ZHA on one side of the world, a ZigBee coordinator on the other side of the world, and it's as if they were right next to each other. In fact, if I'll go to my SLZB device page in Home Assistant, and I'll click on a device via this device, at this point, if Lars would have taken a ZigBee device in pairing mode, I will see it here and I will be able to configure it. It's as if the devices were right next to each other. How cool is this? Alright, so as for setting up the Home Assistant side of things, we're done. And now I'll again hand it over to Lars. Alright, Lars, I'm finished here. Take it away.
Alright, I am now inside of Avi's Home Assistant instance. As you know, if you use Home Assistant, you can access it from anywhere. So this is not mine. This is halfway across the world. So here's the plan. I have here the trusty PowerPoint. It is like a power monitoring thing as well, so it'll do other things. And I have an extension cord. So we're going to plug it in here so I can show you. So I'm just going to plug it in like normal. I haven't used this before. It's brand new. Just took it out of the box. And I'm going to hold in the thing here to pair it. All right, you ready? So that little blue, see if it'll focus on that. That should start flashing blue. Come on. There we go. You can just see it. It's flashing blue. All right, so now we are in pairing mode. All right. So I'm going to go into Home Assistant. I'm going to go into the settings. I'm going to go into the integrations. And I'm going to add an integration or a new device. We're going to go with the ZigBee device. As Avi mentioned, we're running ZHA for this particular demonstration. But of course, Z2M would be a better option in some circumstances. So this is now searching for ZigBee devices. And remember, the coordinator is right out here. It's at my server rack, right? And the ZigBee device is not far from it. It's probably, I don't know, 6 meters, 8 meters from it, right? It's found it already. So just get your head around it. We've got Avi's instance way, way, way far away, like literally halfway across the world. Connected via Unifi and Wireguard to my network, or well, to the ZigBee coordinator, which is picking up this. And now it's configuring it. So yeah, I don't know, it kind of blows my mind. I know how it works, and the nerd in me still goes, that's amazing. So we'll just let that go. Okay, come on, just gonna get that completed. Some of these things sometimes take a little while, so I'll come back in a sec when it's done configuring it. And that was now. So now the device is ready to use. All right, so I'm gonna go find it in Home Assistant. So it'll keep searching while I'm on this screen. So we can change the device name actually. We're gonna call this Avi Don't Touch. Do you reckon that's gonna work? And the area is gonna be new area. We're gonna call this the Llama Drama Farm. And oh, is there a llama icon? There isn't. Okay, maybe there's a sheep. There is sheep. It kind of looks like an AI always thinks that sheeps are llamas. Anyway, and that'll do. Yep, we're gonna create that. So now if I go into the ZigBee integration here, there are 2 devices now. So one of them is Avi, don't touch. So, and now, okay, you ready? I'm gonna press the button here. which is in Australia, and it's going to update Home Assistant, which is in Athens. Right, you ready? Almost instantly. All right, I'm going to do it again. Here you can see it. Ready? So I'm going to press the button on that side, and it works. It works. All right.
Hey Lars!
Tommy!
What's up?
How you going?
How are you doing? How are your llamas?
Cold? Well, no, llamas don't get cold. It's not very warm here this morning. It's sort of misty. It's 1 degree. I'm sure they're fine though. They're probably hiding.
All right, so just so that everyone know, it's very late for me, very early for you, because we are literally on 2 separate ends of the earth. And after all what we've did throughout this video, we got to the end result. And if you don't mind, put your hands up like I'm robbing you, so everyone would know that now you will not be the one that turning on and off your lights. I'll pull up the Home Assistant instance halfway across the world from you in Athens, and now I'm turning on your lights, and then I'm turning it off and on, and the commands are coming from Athens to Australia, which is super cool. Oh my god. It's
really cool. It's just going on and off the whole time.
So that's the end result that we wanted to achieve. And what do you think about use cases for this?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this earlier because this is the cottage that we rent out, right? This is an actual Airbnb, and that's why I brought that up as well, at the beginning. Something like we have Philips lights in the garden, and they're ZigBee. So if you have those, like if you have power and a ZigBee signal and Home Assistant like we do here, you can do all sorts of things of, when people arrive, you might have, say, a sensor that, say there's movement or whatever, but you can turn lights on as people arrive, so that gives you that sort of wow effect, but it's also a safety thing. And you can have, who knows, you can turn on air conditioners before they come, and so that you have a warm place for them, or whatever it might be. There's all these use cases for it. And the cool thing is, of course, is you don't need the Home Assistant instance on the property. You don't need to go and fix the hardware or whatever if that happens. It's just one device, right?
Exactly. So other than it being so cool that it tickles your nerd parts of the brain, I think we need to hands down put a good word for SMLight, because their SLZB devices are currently the only ones that have even thought about including this feature in a ZigBee coordinator. They implemented it very well. This is not a sponsored video. We are genuinely impressed at this implementation.
It's good. It's as soon as you figured out the Unifi side of things with Wireguard, the SMLight side was really simple. Like you literally click that config download.
It's exactly like it was right next to each other.
Yeah, and you sent it to me, and I punched in 3 values, 4 values, and that was it. I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that.
All right, guys. So Lars, first of all, thank you for doing this with me. Thank you guys for watching us rambling on about this and doing these nerdery things. And we hope to see you all on our next videos. Absolutely.
Where maybe you can come here and I'll go, maybe not. Might be. All right. Thanks, Avi.
Bye-bye.
Alright guys, so just before we wrap things up here, I just want to say that I had so much fun working with Lars on this video. And if you haven't already, I really recommend that you go and subscribe to Lars's channel. I think Lars's channel is one of the best tech YouTube channels out there. Every video is just a joy to watch. We want to thank you, and we hope you like this video. If you did, it would mean a lot to us. If you could hit the like button, it would indicate the YouTube algorithms that it is indeed a good video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Take care, guys.
Hi, I'm not Avi, obviously. I'm Lars from the YouTube channel Lars Klint, and this video I'm collaborating with Avi. So stay tuned, because well, we're not going to talk about llamas, but let me just get you.